Hey Flosstube, welcome to my channel. I'm Lori of Mischievous Stitches. I haven't made a video in a few weeks, so I've got plenty to share. I've got a couple of finishes and some works in progress and a few charts that may be future starts here sometime soon or sometimes later. So I'm just going to jump right in and share with you what I have this week. In some of my previous videos this year for Mania, I worked on several of the Foxwood Crossing sleds. The last one I started, so I had a total of 11 starts during Mania, 10 finishes, and this is my 11th start, and now I have it as a finish as well. So this is River Road Church by Foxwood Crossing. It's on a piece of perforated paper with the call for DMC. It also called for some Krynic, but I chose not to. I'm not a fan of stitching with Krynic, so I just decided to stick with the white threads, the DMC white, and I love how it turned out. So when I finished this one up, I followed the instructions in the packet this time, where before I was putting the double-sided tape on the back of the finished item, and then after I cut it out, and then adhering it to the sled. So in the directions, it suggests that you put the tape on the back of the stitched piece once it's finished, and then cut it out. It just kind of saves a step, and we're all about saving some time. So I did it that way. Either way works great, but that is how I chose to finish it this time. And once again, I love it. So I have several of these now. This is one of the larger sleds. The ones I did during Mania, with the exception of this one, were the small sleds. And I have since picked up 3 new patterns for the smaller sleds. So hopefully by Christmas, I'll have a good many finished for a Christmas tree in my kitchen. So I'm happy to have that finished. And then today, I had a nice finish. This is a Mania 2018 start. I started this with Jen of Jen's Stitching Niche, and we decided this year, because we had not had any work on it, to work on it on Fridays, and we hashtagged it Friendship Fridays. And so I was getting really close to a finish, and I thought Jen and I were in a similar spot. We weren't, but anyway, that aside, I continued to work on it until my daughter come home a few weeks ago, and then I put it aside as well as with all of my other stitching, and just focused on spending time with her. So this past weekend, I picked it up again, and I have made a finish on it. So this is Birds of a Feather by Blackbird Design, and here's the pattern. I have heard other Flosstubers talk about this piece. I know that it is now out of print, but I want to share with you my finish. It's a finish with the exception of a chain stitch all the way around the center flower. But other than that, I have a finish, and I love it. It is on a piece, it's a mystery fabric that I'm stitching it on, just something I had in my stash. It is a 32 count, and I'm going to give you a little more close-up of it. I did put my initials at the bottom around the flower pot, and I'm so happy to have this finish. It's one more. My goal this year was to work on a lot of my whips, and this is another whip that I can put a check mark by as finished. So I hope Jen's not going to be too far behind me. Maybe we can pick up another start that we have a similar start and work on that on Fridays as well. We'll see. But thanks for sharing my excitement with that. I love to see when others finish their pieces, because I know that burst of adrenaline you get the last couple of days when you're close to a finish and you just don't want to put it down because you know that finish is coming. It's a great feeling, and it's kind of contagious. So even when you don't have a finish yourself, just the excitement of someone else having a finish is contagious. So there's that. I also saw some Instagram posts this week, and one of them was by Linda Jo, Pretty Southern, and she gave us a glimpse of things at Hobby Lobby that were out for fall. And so I went by this week and got a couple of these little boards. And the proper name is there. I know I'm not going to even attempt that name because I'm going to just butcher it, as I do all things. But not all things, but a lot of words. So there's this, and you can see it's relatively small, so it's perfect for a Lizzie Kate or a Heart and Hand, for whatever season, not just fall, but whatever season you want to use them for. And of course, you know, it's a perfect way to display a small. So if you've not seen them yet, if you did not see Linda Jo's post, $3.99, and you know how often Hobby Lobby puts things 40% off, or you can use your, or 50% off, and then you also have a 40% coupon if it's not on sale. So just for stitchers, so run out and grab you a couple. I did get a couple of new patterns. I've not been buying very much. I have been trying to pass along my stash this year versus buying a lot of stash, and I've been doing pretty good out, you know, so far. It's not necessarily a goal or anything that I'm holding myself firmly to. It's just, you know, in my mind to try to limit the spending and do more stitching than spending. But I did see this one, and this is Disturb Us, O Lord. It's the prayer of Sir Francis Drake, and it's by My Big Toe. I've not seen this one stitched up, but I have stitched several My Big Toe designs. I love the simplicity and the simple color palettes that they use to for their patterns. And I'm going to show you. This one is going to be a really large piece. It is 259 wide by 333 stitches high. So it's relatively, let's just say, it's a BAP. I chose to stitch it on, it calls for, let's see, it calls for Lakeside Linens Lentil, and it calls for Gentle Arts. I'm going to use DMC, which is also listed as well, but I'm going to use Platinum, 36 count Platinum Edinburgh linen, and this is the color palette. So it's, for such a large piece, the color palette is very, it's just greens, browns, shades of brown, and red. So this will probably be a relatively, it's not going to labor away in my stash for very long. I'm sure I'll stitch this or start this at some point this year. I'm itching to do so now, but I'd like to get another whip out of the way, which I'll show you in a minute, before I make any other starts. I also showed you this in my last video, and this was a purchase that was inspired by Shiloh at Stitch MD. You can find her here on Flosstube as well as on Instagram. And this is Al Forrest Embroideries Southern Land. And, you know, to me, it reminds me of, you know, 4th of July, summer. So it's more of a patriotic type piece for me. And I went out and got the threads the other day. You can, in the pattern, it lists the Al Forrest embroidery threads. I just chose to go out to my local Hobby Lobby and pick up the DMCs. It's a very small palette as well, and these are duplicates. I bought 3 of every color. So it's just basically 4 colors. So it is 2 blues and 2 shades of red, and I think it's going to be gorgeous. The piece of, I did not buy a piece of fabric. I thought I would have some in my stash here, and I do not. But this is a piece of lamb's wool. I love the color of this, and I just ordered yesterday a piece of lamb's wool, 32 count, to make a start on that one. So the shipping is saying that it's going to be before this weekend, and I hope it is. I would love to stitch on it before this 4th of July weekend coming up next week. I would love to make a start on this. I noticed on the shell of the Striped Rose her most recent video this week. She is asking anyone that wants to join with her in stitching flag folks by Not Forgotten Farms for the upcoming 4th of July holiday. I'm hoping my fabric will come in, Michelle, because I want to make a start on this. I'm going to join you, but just not on the same piece that you're working on. So any of you that do have flag folks and would like to join along with Michelle, she put out that call to everyone there on her most recent Flosstube. I'm also hosting a stitch along right now, and it is the Needleworker Sampler by Sue Hillis. We do have a Facebook page, which I will link below for those that are stitching on it. And because I have not been stitching, we started this on June 1st. And it is relatively, it's an easy stitch. It's a pretty stitch. I love the embellishments on it. It has a few specialty stitches, and I have just not been working on it. But I will show you where I am currently. So here we are. So this is a piece of tea-dyed Monaco. I wanted the stitches to be very even. I love the color palette. Do I have it right here? I do. So it's shades of red and blue and some greens. I know this is a mess with the colors, but you can kind of get an idea of what we're looking at. And once again, here's where I am so far. It does call for a pearl cotton to do the border. You can see the white border here between the lower shelf of the alphabet and the bordered boxes there. I put it in and took it out 5 times. 5. That may be another reason why, you know, I've just not come up here and worked on it. It has nothing to do with the pattern and everything to do with the stitcher this time. And I was not really actively watching TV that night, but for some reason I would get to the middle, or I'd get a fourth or a halfway across this top border, and I would be off. And I'd take it out, and it was all to do with the placement where I first started the border on. So it is incorrectly now, but I know that I plan on stitching on this a little later this evening, and I do not plan to work on that border. I want to get more of the wording down this side, maybe finish this up and get started on the wording on this side, so I can base this pearl cotton border off of the wording, and hopefully I'll have the wording counted. I don't know what got into me that evening, but every now and then I'll struggle a little bit when I'm stitching, and that night I was struggling, and it kind of just put me off. But once again, that was the Needleworker Sampler by Sue Hillis Designs. And so I've been working this year with 3 focus pieces outside of Mania. I've worked on 3 focus pieces at the time. So this is now 1 piece. I finished the other piece, which is the Birds of a Feather by Blackbird. And then this is my other piece. This is, let me pull it out of the binder. Hold on just a second. This is Barbara Anna's Designs. This is the fall. And I worked on this actively for about 2 months, and I'm very close to a finish. When I say very close, I wouldn't say very close. Close to a finish. Within a couple of weeks, I could definitely have this finished if I focus, but I want to show you where I'm at. I do really like this piece. I'm looking forward to getting it finished up. Hold on just a second. Let me get these glasses on, because my needle, I've got it folded over and my needle is coming through on the opposite side. Okay. This is where I'm at. So as you can see, I have the hill where the tree of knowledge is placed, and a horse and a cow, which the horse and a cow, we all know those full coverage animals can take some time. So I do have a good bit of time to that'll just be involved in those 2 animals, but this is where I am, and has been such a fun stitch. I've enjoyed it, and I look forward to having this finished up this year. So this was a start this year. I am allowing myself starts as well, but I want to have more finishes than starts this year. Now I've totally pulled the thread out of the needle. But anyway, so hopefully, or maybe by the next video that I film, I will have some more work to show on this piece and have a finish on the needlework sampler. Wouldn't that be nice? That's that. And then this is the actual thread palette for that one. It's not a very involved. I like colors, but I love simple color palettes as well. So it's okay with me if there's not 52 colors in one pattern. I'm okay with that. And I think that's about it for this week. So just a very short video just to show you what I've been up to. I will say I have really enjoyed my daughter being home. She is my middle child. She's married. Her husband will come home by the end of July. He will be here as well. And then of course they're actively looking for a place now. So I imagine shortly after his arrival they will be buying a place of their own here somewhere, I hope close, not too far away. Hopefully same street. We know that's not going to happen, but that would be nice. I've enjoyed her. We've done a lot of cooking. We have, she's got me playing games with her. She has a Switch, a Nintendo Switch, so that's where a lot of my evenings are spent with her, playing those games or cooking when I get home from work, so there's not much time for stitching. We've traveled to the beach. She missed our favorite spot here on the coast, which is Beaufort, South Carolina. We go down to Huntington Island, and we went down there for a couple of weekends ago. This past weekend, she wanted to go junking, so her sister and we all took off for the day and just hit a couple of junk stores, and we brought a few treasures home and got a few ideas. I always love to see how other crafty people display things, because it always inspires me to do something similar or just follow their lead and come home and craft something amazing. So there's that. Chelsea has planted a few vegetable plants in the backyard, and she's pretty proud of her peppers, and she's got a few tomatoes and okra. So it's great this time of year to have fresh veggies, and especially there's just an extra excitement when you grow them yourself. So I hope everyone is enjoying their summer so far, and you're enjoying your family and your friends that are around you. And I wish you all for the next week to have a week full of stitches and enjoy the upcoming 4th of July holiday. Until next time, hugs and stitches. Bye bye.